made it. It's time to ascend. I have travelled many moons and far and wide to accumulate what I have needed to submit my offerings. 9 pens, 2 working light bulbs, a 2-meter long shawl shock from the depths of the Black Forest, and 3 face masks. Now I shall receive true power. Best ascended apple I've ever eaten.
Alright folks, how are we doing? It's Shabash, welcome back to the channel. It's Orna again, and today we've got probably the most kind of endgame focused guide that I've put out to date, because it's focused around something you can only do once reaching tier 10, and that is ascending. Ascending was kind of like the endgame progression system that OD's brought into the game so far, introduced in April 2021. And up until this point, people were wondering, you know, there's quite a few level 250s by now. People were wondering, oh, is there going to be a tier 11 class? What's next? And Odie, I think he was bouncing some ideas around. There was a couple of hype screenshots in the main Discord of an Arisen class, which was had a really pretty badass skin, by the way. You can still go in there and check the post. I'll maybe put a screenshot on the screen actually right now. But I think it cost something like 50 million orns, and there was like some cool bonuses, passives. There was like 20 extra skill slots or something like that, and it cost 50 million orns. And people were thinking, yeah, okay, there's going to be tier 11 classes, slight stat increase over the current tier 10 classes, but obviously the tier 10 classes are all really well fleshed out already. There's a bunch of really nice synergies going on. I think most of the classes really work well together, also spec options and stuff. So instead, he's brought in Ascending, which I guess is quite similar to Paragon levels from Diablo 3, if anybody's played that. It is diminishing returns, very much increasing investment cost progression system where you get slight bonuses each time you do it. And yeah, it's very, very expensive. That's the main thing you've probably heard. I mean, the first thing to actually build the Altar of Ascension, which you need, as I said, you have to be level 10, tier 10. And it costs 50 million orns and a bit of stone as well. So it's one of these, it came out with the Origin Talent update in April 2021. So it's been in the game, what are we now, September? It's been in the game for about 5 or 6 months almost. And it's going really well. I mean, nobody really knows what the max Ascension level is. The highest I've seen is 32 at the moment with Jeffels. Let's see if we can actually find him on the leaderboard. But basically, talking about Ascension, there's a couple of points. And as I said, yeah, you have to be tier 10 to be able to build an Altar of Ascension. As I said, it costs 50 million orns, has to be in your origin town, and then you can actually ascend any class that you want. You can ascend a tier 7 class, a tier 1 class for the memes if you want. You're not just limited to tier 10 classes, which is a fairly cool thing. And you can ascend, each class has to be ascended individually. So you don't just go Ascension 2, and so all of a sudden all of your classes get the Ascension bonus. No, it doesn't work like that. Every class you have to ascend individually. So it does kind of mean that you maybe want to specialize into your favorite class, at least initially. You do not have to be level 250 to ascend at all. Obviously by the time you are 250 you will have accumulated much more resources. But that is not a limiting factor early on. You actually check from the leaderboard. So Jeffels is now Ascension level 33, so that's absolutely crazy. That's the highest I've seen. Nobody knows if it stops at level 50, 100, or if it goes beyond Ascension 100, that's going to be absolutely crazy. But we'll come on to more about what kind of costs you can expect later on. And then finally, what actually does Ascension do for you? Well, you can see my Gilgamesh Ascension is currently level 2. And every class Ascension level gives an additional 1% flat stat bonus multiplier. So literally, it works similar to how the Origin Town and the Party bonus works. My Gilgamesh Ascension level 2, I will get a 1.02 multiplier to all my stats. That's not just base stats like specializations, that's to all stats including everything from gear. So that's kind of what makes Ascension really something to look forward to and to build towards, and does actually give you quite an impactful amount of progression. However, as we said, every level that you go up what's going to happen is the costs are going to increase. So there's going to be increasing amount of gold, increasing amount of orns, also increasing amount of materials. So in general, Ascension has given Orna players another goal to strive for in the end game, something to build towards, something to specialize in, really put some investment of your time into playing. So something that you've probably heard about, which is the main thing, and that's Ascension cost. What does it cost? How does it work? And let's get into that. Okay, so we'll go with a couple of examples, and then I'll explain exactly how the randomness works behind Ascension and what actually costs. So, Gilgamesh Ascension Level 2, so you have your class there, you have your current Ascension level, so I'm currently Ascension Level 2 on my Gilgamesh, and then we've got the required offerings to regain, or to gain more power at the next Ascension level. So, the costs here, there's going to be a gold cost, an orn cost, and then there's also going to be material cost. Now, when you first, I think, go up to Ascension Level 5, there's going to be between 3 and 4 different materials. So you can see here I've got 3 different materials. I've got Witchstone, Souls, and Ancient Stone. Now these materials can be literally any material in the game. They can be wood, they can be stone, they can be Realm Ore, Cursed Ortonite, Greater Souls, they can be absolutely anything, and it's random between every player, and it's random between every class, between every player. So that's where the randomness comes into it. Now, I have been doing a little bit of research and a bit of studying into how the costs are kind of associated with each level, and I'm fairly certain I've got it pretty much figured out. So for Orn cost, if you take your Ascension level, there's basically going to be a 2.5 million Orn cost multiplier on that Ascension level, and then there's going to be a plus minus 20% either side of that. Similarly for gold, it's going to be 100 million gold cost times your next Ascension level, plus or minus 20% each side. And then for the materials, as I said, there's going to be from 3 all the way up to 6 different materials. I think once you get to definitely Ascension Level 10, there's going to be 6 materials every single time. You might get the 6 materials a bit before that, you know, Ascension Level 6 or 7. Haven't quite confirmed that. But for the materials, there's going to be between 50 and 100 multiplied by your next Ascension level. That's the range there, and that's going to be for each material. So those are the costs. And that's why, especially later on, when that 20% range gets so high, you can actually have a cheaper Orn cost and gold cost on your next Ascension than the one you've just gone to. So it's pretty funny. So let's have a look at my Gilgamesh Ascension here. This isn't too bad. If we take my formula, which is going to take us to Ascension Level 3, the average Orn cost is going to be 7.5 million Orns, so you see you're pretty below that. Actually, what's the minimum range? Minimum Orns is 6 million, so we're right at the bottom range, which we're really happy about. Orns is going to be one of your limiting factors, especially early on, especially if you don't have double Band of Gods. Definitely want to get that super quick. The gold range, the average is going to be 300 million, so again, we're just underneath that kind of average. And then for materials, the average is going to be around 225 per material. So this is not a bad one. Let's hold to Ascend, let's see what we get next. Ascension. Okay, so it tells you, your stats have increased by 1%. And this is quite a nice one material-wise. Cavestone, Perfect Balder, Balerite, those are fairly easily accessible materials. Cavestone is one of those kind of mid-game random boss ones, which we'll actually come on to in a little bit. In terms of Orns, you can see there was actually like almost a 4.5 million Orn jump there. But the average Orn cost to reach Tier 4 is 10 million Orns. So we're a bit above that this time, you can see. 700k above that. Average gold cost as well is 400 million, so again, a little bit above that. Material-wise, the average is 300, so not too bad. Let's go again. And then I'll show you my Realm Shifter, which has been sitting on Ascension Level 18 for weeks and weeks because I had a really low stock of Wolf's Blood there, which I've finally overcome. So you can see now we've got 4 materials we need. We've got Dayleaf, Lesser Balerite, Demonic Ore, and Adamantine. So we now have 4 required materials to get to Ascension Level 5. Our Orn cost, the average there is 12.5 million. So I've made a spreadsheet, by the way, what I'm looking at in the background. I've made a Google Sheets, which has got all the averages there per level, then it gives you the range as well, so lowest, highest range to ascend to each level. Link for that sheet in the description below, if you want to figure out how much orns on average you're going to need. So what we're looking at, average orns is 12.5 million for next level, so you can see we're actually almost 2 million orns above that, which is a bit annoying. But we've got Dayleaf there, which is one of these herbs. This is a funny one because when this was introduced, there were no herbs in the game as a material. So Dayleaf, Nightshade, Silphium, and Mandrake, those weren't in the game yet. And so a lot of people, literally, for Ascension Level 1, they had to give 50, 100 Silphium or whatever, and they were like, what is this resource? It wasn't in the game until that point. So a lot of people were herb locked early on because there was actually at first there was it didn't even drop from the witch mob. So now it drops from Carmen, all the lookalikes, the fallen witches and stuff like that. So it's a fairly easy resource to get. But yeah, early on a lot of people were herb locked. There's two herbs, Dayleaf and Nightshade, which you can buy in shops. The other two, Mandrake and Silphium, you cannot buy in shops. So there's only drops, the random drops, and from the witches there. So I'm going to ascend Gilgamesh again. We're going to get to Ascension Level 5. And let's see what our costs are for Ascension Level 6. So you can see our orns only went up by not even 1 million orns there. So that's pretty good. Average for Ascension Level 6 is 15 million orns bang on. We've got Sandstone, Demonic Ore, Hide, and we've got Dayleaf again. So you can see it's just pure randomness. You could get 3-4 Ascension levels in a row with the same material, which is, yeah, super harsh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5. So we need 5 materials there to get to the next Ascension level. Okay, so I'll switch to my highest ascended class, which is my Realm Shifter, currently Ascension level 18. And my orn cost here 38 million, where the average for this floor is 47.5 million. So I'm saving 9 million orns in this floor, which is super awesome. As you can see now, we've got 6 different materials. We've got steel, pure waterstone, wolf's blood, sandstone, runestone, ice stone. This is actually a really nice floor, except for the wolf's blood. Now I'm going to come on to rare materials in a minute or two, but just before I ascended, I got to this ascension level. I demon forged my Arisen Feral Claws from the Kerberos raid, spent all my wolf's blood, and it was so painful because wolf's blood is super rare, just really slow to get, However, we've got there, we've got the orns, we've got the gold in the bank, so I'm really excited to see this, what the next ascension costs are going to be. Average orn cost for level 20 is 50 million orns. 2.5 times 20 there. So let's see if we go above it. Yeah, we're 9 million below that again, which is awesome. Super stoked. The materials, we got 1400 Mandrake, Vampiric Ore, Elstone. Ice Stone is one of those rare ones, rare-ish ones. But there's nothing major here. There's no super expensive material. So I'm pretty happy with that actually. Let's go again. We're going to go all the way to 20, get that 20% stat bonus. And now it looks like I've ran out of orns. Let's at least check. Oh my god. 1981 cursed ortonite. Okay. I'm currently farming Arthas at the moment. Gonna have to switch that up and farm Morgan. So you can see how really brutal it is. 1900, 2000 cursed ortonite. That's the total cursed ortonite you need for a pretty decent ornate. Just thankfully there's no greater souls in there as well. Platinum as well, slipping in there. Pure draconite, 62 million orns for 21. So yeah, there's the averages there. That's 10 million above the average. Gold wise, but by this point gold income is not too bad. So that's how the randomness, how the costs work out. If you're interested in knowing what's the cumulative total cost that I've just spent on average, I haven't counted them, but cumulative cost is 525 million orns to get to Ascension Level 20. So it's 500 million orns on average that you're going to spend to get one class ascended to level 20 for that 20% stat bonus. So that's pretty crazy. What's Jeffels at? Jeffels has spent over $1 billion. Like, over $1 billion. Okay. So, some ascending strategies. Remember, your first your first 10%, your first 10 Ascension levels gives you an immediate 1.10 stat bonus multiplier, which you didn't have before. That's literally another Origin Town bonus, as we've talked about. And that increase in stats is a more significant increase immediately because you didn't have that bonus before. Whereas if I'm going from 1.2 to 1.3, so from Ascension level 20 to Ascension level 30, the stat increase isn't as much as getting that flat 10% multiplier straight off the bat. And of course, you can see with the increasing cost of materials, orns and gold, it kind of acts like diminishing returns, at least in terms of effort required to gain stat boost increase. So one of the big things is the materials. You might think, up until now materials have been fairly easy. You know, you have a weapon or two in your gear, you just farm that material. But now you're gonna have to be farming random stuff you never thought you would ever need, like the ice stone there. Like, when did you ever think you needed ice stone if you weren't a mage, for those negating staffs? So I'm just gonna quickly go through some of the worst materials to farm. Obviously the cursed ortonite there, absolutely brutal. Realm ore as well, if you're kind of fresh into tier 10, you didn't farm Polyon so much, or you have a lot of Polyon gear. It's very solid gear. So those kingdom, and basically all of the kingdom raids actually, like the titanium solarite, Avalon ore, Balerite, the normal Balerite that you get from the Baler Elite raid. These are materials that you're gonna have to kind of coordinate within your kingdom. It's not like, okay, everybody's in a different kingdom, so your circumstances may be different. But on average, if you just say, all right guys, I'm just gonna solo Arthas for, I need 2,000 Avalon ore, I don't have it, I need it. What do you want me to do? I'll shuffle your gauntlets every day for a week or something like that. So yes, try and find the balance. You should find the balance there in your kingdom, because hopefully you're playing with similarly active players, and if you're going towards that Ascension, you're all kind of going to need similar materials at some point in time. So something you need to work out with your kingdom. The next, I should actually just be on the materials page. How about that? So you can see I've got 19,000 Avalon ore there. Oh, you know what? I'm not far off the cursed ortonite. Just need 30 odd more. That's good. Luckily, well, do I save it? I think I might just blow it. On realm. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Greater Souls, here we go. Now, Greater Souls, this is really important for a lot of endgame gear. All the Arisen Morgan gear, a lot of World Raid gear, Ashen Phoenix gear, the Phaetico, etc, etc. You're going to be using, Ascending is that endgame process, so you're going to have endgame gear, right? Greater Souls, really slow to farm. Best places in the arena. On average, you get 1 Greater Soul every 3.5 wins in the arena, according to the research team. So, fast builds like Realm Swash, or any kind of Swash build, any kind of one-shot build is really good for farming the arena, plowing through, getting Greater Souls. You can also smash World Raids. A lot of the World Raids, the Horsemen, the Phoenixes, the Ashen Phoenix has a lot of gear actually. I think Ashen Phoenix is pretty good if you can manage to at least do a lot of damage as fast as possible. Get Greater Souls that way. The next one is the herbs that we talked about earlier, Silphium and Mandrake mainly. They all drop, as I said, from the Carmen, the Arisen Carmen, all the Carmen lookalikes, and of course from End of Dungeons. Nightshade, you can see I've got 2,000 more Nightshade than Mandrake. Nightshade and Daily if you can buy in shops, so they're not as bad. And the next one, maybe surprisingly, but it's actually Platinum. This doesn't really drop or get dismantled from a lot of normal gear. Some event raids have it. Mainly the Phoenix raid in January has quite a lot of Platinum, but apart from that, you've got like the tier 4 Magma Golem, then you've got the Mighty Slime that drops, gets it dismantled from the Mighty Ensemble, and then the Realm Spikes from the Fallen Realm Chapter. Those are the kind of only ways, and you can buy Platinum shops as well. So, it's not one of those things that is really, really common. The next one I've got is Twilight Stone. Now, depending how much normal farming you're doing, this kind of only drops from Nightbreak, from the Nightbreak weapons from the Dark Pegasi normal mobs. So the next one, Wolf's Blood, which we talked about. You're looking at Fenrir's, Arisen Fenrir, and also Fallen Freyrs. You can dismantle it from Chimera Staccatos. Lord of Wolves as well, and the Arisen Lord of Wolves. So a really great shout for Wolf's Blood actually. is summoning monster remains in a wooded area. You've got a really high chance of getting the Lord of Wolves and the Fenrir boss, and they will always drop you like 2 Wolves Blood. The drop rate from the Arisen Fenrir, the Arisen Lord of Wolves, and also from the Fallen Freyr for the Chimera Staccato is really horrible. It's not guaranteed. Like, you'd maybe average, I think I was averaging like 1 Wolf's Blood a dungeon, maybe 1.5 if you include it at the random reward at the end. Okay, next hard material, relatively hard material, is Hardened Steel. The Hardened Steel, not as bad as it used to be. It used to be really difficult to get. Now it's not too bad. The Arisen Minotaurs, the Arisen Behemoths, they were introduced, so that kind of doubled the normal amount of Hardened Steel you can get. It drops for the Venin as well. You're going to need it for a Venin, so all kind of melee players are going to be farming Hardened Steel for the Venin. Of course, drops from Surtur, Arisen Surtur as an event raid. And then I've kind of got a mix and match of random mid-game materials. So we talked about the Cave Stone earlier, for example. So these are the materials that aren't necessarily rare, but you don't gain them in so many quantities like you do Ortonite or Lionite, this kind of thing. So I'm talking about Cave Stone, Ancient Stone, Broken Statue, Cave Stone, again, Ice Stone. What else have we got there? Ancient Stone, Adamantine, yeah, not too much Adamantine. Fog Stone, that's another one. Which only drops on like 3 mobs, 2 or 3 mobs. Skystone, Vampiric Ore. So by themselves, not too much of a problem. Like first 3 Ascension levels, you'll definitely have enough to, hopefully have enough by this point to get through those first Ascension levels. The issues start happening when you start getting the same material back to back. 1900 Cursed Ortonite, maybe next level I get another 2000 Cursed Ortonite, you know, this kind of thing. Then all of a sudden, you spent like 1000 Wolf's Blood, and you have to farm Wolf's Blood for your next Ascension level. So that's when you start feel the pain. That's where you start feel the pain. So a couple of ways to get materials, obviously, apart from dismantling the correct gear, you can buy certain materials in shops, like the Elstone and the herbs that we talked about. Another option, if you can be bothered, is to some of the low stuff like Draconian Draconite. You can just buy Draconian gear from shops and then dismantle it. What else we got? Stuff like Fomorian gear actually dismantles into 2 different materials, like dismantles into stone, dismantles into silver and bone, which is pretty nice. And then what you do with all these cheap materials, so what you can do, go shopping, buy tons of cheap materials, and then build a few refineries. If you don't know about refineries, you can build 1 per area, and then you can move it towards you. So that's how you have to go about locally few different areas, and then slowly walk them towards your origin town, or at least somewhere you can easily access it. Actually, with the new move feature, you can move them very far distances, but you have to move them towards you, so that's useful. So then you just smelt those, rubbish materials in the refinery. Refineries you can level to level 10 each time. Each level gives you 12 material capacity. 2 greater souls in there, that's not too bad. Let's just collect these. Refineries, a max level refinery will take 12 hours to smelt, so like 1 a day if you can be bothered. This is like the most boring gameplay in the game, in my opinion, so I might do this for like a few days at a time, then I'll just leave them sitting there for ages. Material output for refineries are completely random, so there's no waiting. You saw there I got greater souls, equal chance to get Cursed Ortonite or Bone, whatever. On that point, be careful if you're smelting Bone, because it's right next to Cursed Ortonite. I once lost 120 Cursed Ortonite when I was smelting Bone at on the commute in the morning before having a coffee. That's not recommended. In terms of materials, there is different outputs. So Ortonite is the best material to refine in terms of it will give you can see it's got a purple background, kind of tells you it's a rarer material, even though it's not really that rare at the end game. But Ortonite will give you greater amount of materials back than putting in compared to everything else. Another good one is Dragonite. So yeah, you're probably going to have to start using refineries just a little bit. You can see I've got 21 refineries and it's like the most boring gameplay. Another great way of getting materials is just by general dungeoneering. Of course, some monsters only appear in dungeons, like to get the cave stone, for example. But when you do complete a dungeon, you get a big list of random materials there, which is really good. And if you do hard mode, that list is doubled. So, there's some extra materials there. And again, I don't think there's any waiting there. It's literally just any random material. So those are really good. Dungeons you're going to need to do for farming, as I said, specific materials. And also very good for getting orns, of course. Hopefully by now you have double banded gods, because those orns, that orn cost really increases like crazy. Double bogs give you 1.5 multiplied to orns gain and gold gain each. So really important for that. In terms of themed dungeons are about to drop any day now. I'm like 80% sure that themed dungeons are going to offer much easier ways to target farm certain mobs or certain types of materials. So like water stone from water mobs. If you need 2,000 water stone, you don't have it, or this kind of thing. So hopefully when themed dungeons come out, I would love like a wood biome one, so I can just farm Fenrir's and get wolf's blood. Hopefully I don't need to see any wolf's blood anytime soon, but a lot of those materials that they're easily farmable during certain raid months. So if you're quiet for a certain month, maybe just tag the raid whenever it's going down. Anyway, you never know when those materials will be needed for your next Ascension level. And Ascension is very personal. At the moment I've got my realm searcher up to Ascension level 20, and my next plan was to get every other tier 10 class to Ascension level 10. So I think I will do that. Got my Gilgamesh and halfway there now, which is awesome. Another great way to get greater souls, actually, what I didn't think of. Another important reason to do dungeons as well is a lot of the random items that you get at the end of dungeons, these superior kind of unknown origin, random name stuff. A lot of those have greater souls as a dismantling or as a leveling up requirement. So if I can use this phone, man, come on. So I've saved up a bunch of these random weapons, and you can see it's got a random name, Twilight Blade. So obviously you got the Twilight Blade, the tier 3 from the Twilight mob, but this is like a tier 10 version of it, which is got a random name and has greater souls as cost. So this is another really good way to rack up greater souls. If you find a leveled up version, smelt it at the blacksmith. Definitely smelt it at the blacksmith. At level 4, that's 4 greater souls instead of 1. Another thing you can look out for at the blacksmith, or not at the blacksmith, but for smelting at the blacksmith, is bazaars. This, a lot of the time, sell random pieces of the gear, which has the same output as those random stuff in dungeons. So yeah, smelter. So I've been saving this one up for this video for a long time. If I can find the item. Here we go. Also, a lot of the times that you buy things from bazaars, they're going to be leveled up. So this Age Baylor dagger I found in a bazaar for like, I don't know how much gold, but it's level 6, and for that gold, you smelt it down, you get 1 greater soul per level you smelt it. So there you go, 6 greater souls. So keep an eye on the bazaar, they are actually useful sometimes. I'm going to end up racking up those greater souls. So one thing to bear in mind, Ascension is not required to be viable in endgame whatsoever. It's only been introduced to the game within the last few months, and people have been at that level, tier 10, for over a year by that point, smashing the game out. So it's definitely not a requirement. It's just a nice little stat boost. An extra 10%, 15% for most people is going to be a really good medium-term goal, and because those costs really do rack up, you're going to have to be doing a lot of boss dungeons, a lot of random dungeons to get those materials, to get those orns, and yeah, you're going to have to be selling some items as well to get the gold in some cases if you're like to spend gold on stuff. It does provide a really nice impact though. You do feel those extra 10% stats in certain situations. Raiding going to be slightly faster, slightly better outcomes in PvP, etc, etc. So really good personal goals to aim towards. I think that Ascension level 10 is a really good target for your main class, and maybe if you swap between a couple of classes, because that's going to be the biggest immediate boost. I think a really good way that it's balanced is the fact that it's not the same cost every single time, that the costs do increase, and they do increase quickly, and they do increase really significantly. and you're going to have to put a lot of effort to get to Ascension Level 20, Ascension Level 30, 40, 50. It's going to be, it's been 6 months almost and nobody's reached higher than, I think, Ascension Level 33 we said. Just on that fact, let's see how much on average you're going to need to get to Ascension Level 100. How about that? 12.6 billion orns, 500 billion gold, and on average 2.3 million materials. So that's total accumulative cost on average to get to Ascension Level 100. So I don't know if we'll see it in 2021 or 2022. There's a few people up in the global leaderboards who play a lot. Maybe they'll crack it one day. No idea if that's the end of Ascension, if that's the maximum Ascension level you can get on the class. We'll have to wait and see. I hope this video is informative and useful and something to look forward to for those players who aren't at level 10 yet or aren't at tier 10 yet. A really nice mechanic to get involved with, something to keep you farming, something to keep the grind going on. If you like the video, please give me a like down below, it really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already for more Orna content, and a big thank you to all my Twitch supporters and patrons. Link in the description there. Hopefully we're going to get some more live streams going really soon. Can't wait to get some party play up and running as well with the stream and with those arisen Orna legends. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Ciao.